I'm going about 5 weeks, over a month, that I'm actually working away from home in an office. So I am exhausted. I'm so tired. Um, but it's a good thing, and I'm appreciative, and I love it. And soon enough, I'll probably get back in the gym too. Um, if it isn't the Delta, you know, virus that's keeping us, it's probably going to be some other airline. Okay, so um, there's a lot going on. I don't want to say again, so I'm not going to. I do want to say that in all of my past videos that I've made are really just like sort of directed towards kind of like notes to myself, like a memoir, like hello world, this is who I am. If there's somebody that is similar, has something in common with me, leave your comments. If you don't, that's fine too. Most of the responses I get are I didn't say I said uh they are not necessarily very constructive, and and that's okay. People don't have time to respond to me. I mean, I'm not demanding time from anybody's busy schedule with this whole lockdown thing and everybody being at home and having, I guess, more things to do. I don't. Okay, so anyhow, I did want to talk about how the videos that I presented before really just all revolve around ensuring that, because I have a very deep belief in that there is going to come a time that there is a great deception. These are things that are sort of natural to me. They are not something that was hammered in my mind, or definitely not something that if I had it my way I would want. They are just things that are innately what I see, as far as because of foresight and my ability to see people's, I guess, moves on the grander checkerboard. I can kind of tell whether things are moving in a good or bad direction. They are sometimes moving in a good direction. They are some, and that's when I'm involved, of course. And then other times they're moving in a bad direction, and that is when I'm not a part of it, and people are just really out to do the things that are not what God expects of us, as treating each other as brothers and sisters and with love and care. So I do know that I didn't go a certain direction in life to be a politician or to be an influencer or any of those things. I'm actually, I just don't want to be robbed of my identity. So this is my, and I'm certainly not the type of person that has, uh, what is it, like an imposter um, syndrome? Ooh, I said, sorry, imposter syndrome. So it's just really more. Now I worry that all my videos are going to be deleted, and then no, because like I'm not joking. Like there's been, it's really insane. I hope nobody has to experience that, because it is a little bit crazy. But if anybody ever, like it's at some point in the future, wants to deceive other people, and you're the only person that wants to be the honest person that keeps things straight, they might not want you to be you. They might want you to think that you're the scummy one, etc. I mean, it's like it's childish, I know, but nevertheless, It's forceful when you're dealing with 300-pound children, at 10 of them at the same time. I mean, it's like, whoa, like it's not even wrestling. It's just like, get the fuck off me. So, and that's, if you don't ever understand what I'm saying, that is beautiful. Thank the Lord, but it happens, for whatever reason. So what I wanted to talk about today is that, I okay, you know what? I need a drink of beer. Hazy IPA. Okay. In my previous videos, I've mentioned some sort of things that, like I just did now, are a little bit more on the side of conspiracy theory, and that don't necessarily, take hold of. I'm not going to try and have pros. I'm not going to do that. It's possible that my statements have seemed that they're unfounded and not based on reality. And a lot of it does have to do with just a little bit more intuition and whatever's crossing my mind, and like uh, a warning as to what might happen if you. Well, the thing is that really I'm against a whole lot of people, because I think that at this point, it's like me against a lot of people. Like me, for example, I paid my rent this whole pandemic. I paid my rent. So I'm not going to get a chance to. So, come October, when riots start again and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is like nowhere to be found. I mean, she doesn't want to be nowhere to be found right now. That would be terrible. Midterms are coming up, and I don't really know what. Well, yeah, midterms are coming up in a year for House of Representatives. It's senators that rotate. So she wants to be found, and she wants you to know that she was camping out. She doesn't want you to know that she didn't actually use her intelligence, maybe because she doesn't have a brain, to actually pass anything in Congress where people voted her to work. I'm assuming 40 hours a week, at least engaging other congressmen, and networking, building rapport, just learning about how to be influential to in the right way, so that everybody wins. And there is going to be compromise, but it's never going to be from one extreme to the other. So I don't necessarily feel that I feel like she wants to turn this into Jamaica Mon, like that's probably in step with our vice president. Okay, Jamaica Mon. Oh, like, okay. This I'm not. I'm gonna be a little bit stereotypical, but it is the truth. When you look at countries outside of the United States, and this is something that, I've dealt with before when I was a kid. When people told me that Mexico was scummier, I thought I had to deal with it. And then I had to open up my eyes and realize that the United States was in fact more orderly. It was in fact more kept up with, and end of story. So I'm not. I don't want. She's not as a Latina woman. I sort of like, this isn't like a woman thing. Like, I'm little men. Like the little cowardly men that can't stand up for themselves and want to hide under women's skirts. And I don't want to talk about the kind of woman because who knows what's going on up there when they're hiding there. But I am going to talk about how in this country and this system that we had here, that now Alexandria Ocasio and her like are robbing from the rest of us, was possible, will never be. So I can say things like this now. And like I've had to remind myself, like, but I can say things like this. So Alexandria Ocasio is probably a part of some of the conspiracy. Like, she's a part of the conspiracy, because I'm a lot more real and true to the message, the true message, the spirit of the law, the spirit of the culture of this country than she is. I think she's just more, Miss Popularity, and I'm just saying, I don't want her to be a role model to other Latina women the way that she goes. She just doesn't have enough people to actually tell her that, um, because there's a select other few females, right, that are the dominating type, that want everybody else to just like, oh, so everything I learned and everything, all of my good values and being a decent, hardworking, um, merit based, um, uh, down to earth person that I am is out the window, because now we have to go into La La Land with these few, um, the mindless, who knows where their head goes. I mean, they're like scatterbrains, just like they're just all over the place, and suddenly they just come back to one thing. They come back to whatever it is that is going to hold their base, and that base are freeloaders. And those freeloaders are the people that are loving life, because people, maybe not like me, I have to say, I probably break even at the if I were to calculate all the taxes I paid and what I've received in return. I could say I break even, maybe not me, but at another level. Okay, say I was earning a little bit more than I want to, because if I did, I mean, can you imagine? I'd be hideous. I'd be absolutely like, you wouldn't be able to even look at me in the face, okay, if I wanted to earn as much as I could potentially earn. And that's just me saying so. Okay, so I did want to talk about politics on the job. No, I caught myself doing that today. No, Monique, you can't talk politics at work. But I did want to say that it's actually a common notion that most people are liberals in their youth and then grow into conservatives, and conservatives have to basically see the liberals through. And it's not that liberals are stupid or anything, which is why I always start my, like, are you stupid? I always start my sentence like, no, no, I don't think you're stupid. So don't act like you're stupid, because you sure are. And then you sort of like grow into this more conservative role. It doesn't mean that you have to be like you know, uh, strictly traditional. There's some modernism that is part of being conservative, um, but that's up to debate, and that's actually, like, that's where the beauty of a free world comes into play, is that there is a variety, and then there is no right from wrong, and there is an opinion, and it is subjective. And as long as I'm the type of person that says, well, since I can only speak for myself, I will not impose what I think on other people. except of course that's what Nancy Pelosi is doing, which I think is kind of sad because I think she's like, I think her ego is like about to explode and go like on some sort of like a train wreck. Sorry, Nancy Bet. Maybe you have already been on a train wreck and I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not going to be a part of it. Okay, so that was the first thing that happened today. Now let's talk about why admitting sin is so important. So admitting sin is important because, like with Andrew Cuomo, he doesn't feel that what he's done is wrong to begin with, but so therefore he doesn't think that people would just forgive him if he just said, sorry, I didn't mean to grab you in the ass and grope you and make you feel like you were just a piece of meat that I was just gonna play, because that's how it works. When you get played that way, basically, is what it means is these people that these young ladies that are starting a career in the world, and believe me, I know because I thought the same thing with some you know, bag of STDs. He was like, oh my God, everything I avoided in high school. Like Jesus. And you tend to and you're a baby because you're a baby in a different arena. Like you gotten through and through high school and college, and now you're empowered and now you're a whole new person. And now you're like a baby again in this world where there's just like predators, and so it sucks because they need validation, and they need to, and unfortunately is they have to carry with that, and they shouldn't have to. They should just say, well, he did, I forgive him. If you But people like him don't want forgiveness, so that's like it creates like this like sort of a wall, right, like between that closure that these women need to just, which is, and I can totally relate. So when you admit sin, when you admit that you're a sinner, that you're a sinner, like done, you can't. Well, this is actually going to take me to my next point, okay? Because it sounds a little bit oversimplistic the way it comes across. We'll just admit that you're a sinner. Just admit that you're, and so like, some people could think, well, are you expecting me to take? No, I'm not expecting you to take blame. I'm expecting you to accept the fact that just because there's other people that can construe your behavior a different way, that automatically makes you a person that offended somebody, and that you have to be willing to accept it. And that's not just it, because that is on one extreme of things, but actually what I do want to touch on or get to with this point is something else, that is not coming to me as of yet. uh yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that one. It just, I swear, like I have these concepts and then I have to get them on paper, and I just put admitting sin, and admitting sin doesn't mean that you have to be crucified. It doesn't mean that you have to be a martyr. So, and that's how it's coming across. But the importance of admitting sin means that you are a person that can hear other people out, that can, oh my God, like I totally lost. See, I'm from California. So anyway, all right, so let's talk about my next thought, which is on the Antichrist and what that means. And I've thought a lot about, not a lot, I mean, I've thought about what might construe what and this or that. And I don't want to, I'm not the type of person that necessarily wants to elevate or empower any one person to believe that They're so important that I would dedicate 1 second of energy to call them this or that. So that's not who I am. And I would much rather prefer to say that the Antichrist is basically just more a body of um, of the supernatural in a way that I can organize in whatever way I want, and so can you. But it doesn't necessarily mean so. It could be like a group of different thoughts or ideas that just come together to make one thing become this. And okay, so let's. I'm gonna rewind a little bit and talk about what Christ means. Christ means a Messiah, an anointed one, um, a figure in life that is going to come here to rescue and save humanity, the rest of us. Okay, so the Antichrist doesn't even mean to me like it just like with all clarity hit me doesn't mean like somebody that's against that. It just means somebody that's like it's not being against one person that comes and says that that's who they are. It means that somebody's going to come and say nobody is God's child. Nobody. Because if you were God's child, you would be a Christian. You would be somebody that thinks that God wants you to be here, alive, and He's your creator, and He nourishes you, and He's the bread of your life. That's what the Antichrist is going to be. The Antichrist. So yes. So when Obama asked us to ask me or people, I don't know. I mean, I don't associate myself with Christianity. I mean, I'm a Catholic. Who knows what these these guys are probably just as wrong in whatever they've done. But when Barack Obama opened his mouth to ask Christian people to get off their high horse, I thought, okay, all right, yeah, I'm seeing the association now, like the link between there not being any person that is the son or daughter of God to, or rather, to there being one person that is the son or daughter of God, to there being no son or daughter of God, is that he's asking people to so I don't know if you okay, so that means that he just basically tried to step all over anything that has ever even had any meaning in this civilization. He tried to ask people that believe that there's already come a son of God and that has taught us to live with one another in the most peaceful way, to not think that, because none of us are the son of God, the son or daughter of God. Okay. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. So I'm not going to give Barack Obama importance. I okay. I do have to get back to my beer though. But that was important for me to say. I'm not going to give him importance himself. I am going to give his message importance. And whoever ushered him to the position where he was elevated to, I guess I was a little bit of a part of it because I was a little bit a part of the hype and was convinced, like, okay, like, let's get this guy on on the chief of the US and see how much he can get done. It turned out it wasn't that great. they tried to make the rest of the world feel like they just needed another Democrat to come in, to step in the 2016 elections. Fortunately, Trump won, and he did actually carry God's message, and he was a person that thought, oh, wait a second, you're not God, fool. You're not God. You have to stop acting like you're God. I mean, you don't have to. You should. You should stop acting like you're God. And like that's really all I have to say about that. So, yeah. Yeah, so with admitting sin, it just came back to my head now. With admitting sin, what that means is that although Andrew Cuomo has been the type of person that wants to stage like some kind of a persona for himself that is just touchy and feely, and Eric Garcetti knows all about that with his one of his uh inner circle most uh, I guess intimate uh, friends he has. I don't know if colleague. I don't know what you call him what you want. Um, so he did that. He staged that very well. And what that made me think is people have tried to make me feel like because I'm Mexican that I must be a drug dealer, or because I'm a woman that I must be a prostitute, or that because this or that. And so when I can say to myself, well, I admit that I can I could be seen that way, which is kind of different than actually being a martyr. I admit to myself that I can be seen that way. So what do I do? What do I do when I'm seen that way? Do I actually play into it? Do I want to give these people an excuse? Do I really want to join them because I can't beat them? No, no, I don't. I don't want to join them. I don't want to give them an excuse to, be the loser lambs that they are. They're so dirty. Like the people that have tried to get me to be as low as they are, even below them. This is really hard to explain because it's really all just happened in my head. It's just all happened more like, yeah, I see where you're going with that. Like the way that people will have. So I am a little bit of a very straightforward person. This is what I believe. This is what I feel. And if anybody has a problem with it, that's okay. I'm not saying that I blame anybody for trying to get me in bed or like trying to get me to be less low, I mean, it's just not going to happen. Either way. So that's what I mean about admitting. Um, it's more, it really admitting sin. I should have written down has more to do with humility than it does with martyrism. Just be a humble person that knows I can accept this. This is what people are going to throw my way, struggle with it my whole life. That's okay. I mean, I know who I am. I mean, the problem is when people try and blindfold you and put, peroxide in your nose and try and put you to sleep, and then want you to wake up and be the person they thought you were, because otherwise they'll go crazy. And it's like, you know what? Go crazy. Go crazy. I'm not the person you thought I was. And that's that. And then you just keep going. So you just keep going, and I'm gonna keep going. Either way, I think that the main message here is that the Antichrist is just somebody that wants us all to be equal, and they're a farce. They are, um, they lack a lot of cognitive abilities. About 99% of the maximum potential of cognitive abilities. And I would be very wary. We're not. We if God says we are, and we all live in our own silos, and communicate with each other as brothers and sisters, and loving God and loving His creation and being that steward, we're fine. But if we think that we're all equal, we're just going to end up tearing each other apart, and that is why it is written. That's why the Bible is written the way it is about the end times and how it's going to get really ugly. And people don't understand that. People want their crutches right now. People want to. Anyhow, I'm not going to pay for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's decisions. I will, and I will make sure that my message and where I stand carries weight and goes a longer way, or Jimmy Gomez for that matter, because that's my rep, and we're gonna have to talk about what's going on here, man. All right. Wish I had more time in my hands, but you know what, I feel like I'll manage. I feel like I really manage, and I feel like I'll really. And I'm just gonna say one more thing about the impeachment of Joe Biden. Do you know why it occurred to me today? Do you know why there was those that thought, "Oh, don't impeach him too early. Because it might seem to uh, like a God, I lost it. It seems to like there's no credibility behind it. It's gonna just seem like it's a game, like it's just gonna be like a tit for tat. So don't do it too early. But there's like so many people that want to, but they're just like strategizing, and this is what kills me about people. It's like if I called Republicans pussies to try and get a reaction, like come on, like who cares what Democrats think? They're idiots. They're always going to try and illegitimize anything you say, no matter what and when you do it. So the fact that they didn't do it early on to try and be strategic doesn't change anything. It doesn't change it. It's just gonna okay. It's just gonna keep. Uh, I know, like some people are trying to get cozy and trying to like arrange like the little sweetheart deals. At this point, is what's happening. That's all that's happening because you didn't have the heart, you didn't have the courage, you didn't have the guts to actually confront a phony president that everybody with the right mind knows lost an election, and you're deceiving people, with your strategy to not be too hasty. Like hasty might mean that you're just playing tit for tat, like the dirty Democrats. Well, no, doing it when it was done was because that was when it had to be done. Anyhow, I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'll have to, I guess, go get some more beer or wine or whatever. Alrighty. Well, okay, let's do a little bit of Bible. Okay. All right, I turned it to Revelation 2. We're going to read about the church, the letter to the church of Smyrna, because I know this chapter already. That's how I know. And I have to, okay. So, to the angel of the church of Smyrna, write this: the first and the last, who once died but came to life, says this: I know your tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. I know the slander of those who claim to be Jews and are not, but rather are members of the assembly of Satan. Do not be afraid of anything that you are going to suffer. Indeed, the devil will throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested. And you will face an ordeal for 10 days. Remain faithful until death, and I will give you the crown of life. Whoever has ears ought to hear what the Spirit says to the churches. the victor shall not be harmed by the second death. And more on that to come. The second death, I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm just going to live forever, but we'll see.